Morning everyone. In this activity, we will be exploring the effects of light in the rate of photosynthesis. What does a plant need to survive? What are the basic needs of plants to survive? I'm giving you more time to think about the question. You could find a partner to help you. And as soon as you're ready to answer the question, just raise your hand. And whoever the first one to answer the question will get a 5 points extra credit for your participation. Alright, very crucial thing. Give me one factor that the plant needs in order for it to survive. What you got? Alright, one is water. Okay. Alright. Khadija. Right? We have song. And what else? Amir. Alright, light. Alright, based on what you have shared about factors needed by plants to survive, let us focus on just one of the factors, light. Do you think the light affects the rate of photosynthesis? How will you design an investigation to test your hypothesis? From the initial plan in testing your hypothesis, which factors do you intend to change? Which factors do you intend to keep constant? How do you ensure that you are doing a fair test? How do you set up your materials? And how would you record your data from your observations? So, with the assigned roles to your group mates, such as production manager, evidence collector, researcher, skeptic, do the investigation, collaborate. Now perform the steps outlined in the activity sheet. Once done, encode your data on the prepared spreadsheet. When all groups have encoded their respective data, we will convert it into a graph to establish the relationship between variables. Which setup produces more bubbles? How does light affect the rate of photosynthesis? What evidence supports your claim? Do you believe that your data is reliable? Why do you say so? How do you interpret the data you collected? What conclusions can you draw? How could you test other variables? What would happen if there would be more data plants in the set? Analyzing evidence. From the data encoded in the spreadsheet, overall, the amount of bubbles increases as the amount of time Elodea leaves both covered and exposed to sunlight is increased. This shows that the more bubbles produced means the faster is the rate of photosynthesis. The graph should make the readings clearer and give a general picture about the amount of photosynthesis produced against time. The graph should also show common results among the averages. The results basically show the bubbles increasing with time increasing.
This is because the amount of light stored by the chlorophyll is increased because the light intensity is getting stronger. It can also be inferred that light affects the amount of carbon dioxide taken in by the leaves and the amount of water taken by the stem. As the amount of carbon dioxide is increasing, the amount of oxygen being produced as a waste product increases along with it. The amount of bubbles produced, the amount of glucose produced would also increase, and there would be more energy for the plant to use. The results confirm the prediction that the light affects the rate of photosynthesis. More bubbles produced when Elodea leaves exposed to light with increasing time compared to the covered leaves. The results were fairly accurate overall, but could have been more accurate. It was fairly accurate because the bubbles released were counted. However, it was partly inefficient because students could have missed bubbles released as the leaves themselves could have caught them. Another variable that could be tested is using microburette to measure the volume of the oxygen released instead of counting the bubbles released by the Olivia leaves. The microburette is a much better to use for the experiment because it gives us the volume of the oxygen released from the Ludia leaves and is much more accurate.
All right. Now that we have done the activities that we need to do to achieve the lesson objectives, cite some insights that you gain from the lesson.